Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are dissecting a storm that is reshaping the entire global AI landscape, the sudden political firestorm surrounding Anthropic's latest moves in 2026. We're talking about a company that just hailed India as its second-largest market and signed a massive partnership with Tata Consultancy Services, only to find itself locked out of those very regions by new U.S. export controls. While the Trump administration weighs these restrictions weeks before forcing an AI model offline over a dispute involving China-linked firms, Anthropic is privately lobbying Congress to vote against bills that would prevent states from regulating artificial intelligence. In this video, we will break down exactly how a safety-focused tech giant found itself at the center of Washington's most complex political debate, why defense contracts are now entangled with commercial branding, and what this chaos means for the future of AI export controls. Stick around because the lines between technology firms and policymakers have never been blurrier. Let's dive straight into the flashpoint that has everyone talking in New Delhi right now. Just over a day after Anthropic publicly celebrated its expansion, unveiling a major partnership with Tata Consultancy Services to dominate the Indian market, Indian developers and enterprise researchers suddenly found themselves completely locked out of the company's most powerful artificial intelligence tiers, specifically Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5. It was a public relations earthquake. How does a partner become an outsider overnight? The answer lies in a U.S. government export control order that dropped like a bomb just as they were trying to integrate. This isn't just about software licensing. It's about geopolitical leverage being applied instantly to commercial relationships. Indian enterprises, which had been preparing to deploy these high-tier models for critical infrastructure and research, are now facing an immediate void. The irony is palpable. Anthropic had just spent weeks building trust with the world's third-largest economy, only for Washington to intervene in a way that effectively severs those ties. This sets a dangerous precedent where commercial viability is entirely hostage to foreign policy shifts happening behind closed doors in Washington, D.C. It forces Indian tech leaders to ask if their strategic partnerships are actually secure or just temporary arrangements waiting for the next executive. But the situation gets even more intricate when we look at what happened on the other side of the world, particularly regarding the Trump administration's handling of export controls. Reports indicate that the administration weighed these restrictions on Anthropic weeks before forcing its most advanced AI model offline. Why? It traces back to a high-stakes dispute over the company allegedly sharing its technology with a suspected China-linked firm. This narrative paints a picture of extreme caution, bordering on paralysis, within the highest levels of government. The timing is crucial here. The threat of an export ban seems to have preceded the actual shutdown of specific model access. It suggests that the fear of technology leakage is so potent that it overrides operational continuity. When you look at court documents from mid-2025, you see a different story emerging. The government used Anthropic's Claude for much of 2025 without complaint, relying on its capabilities for national security and administrative functions. Yet, the moment a commercial dispute regarding China involvement arose, the stance hardened dramatically. This creates a confusing dual reality where the same technology is simultaneously a trusted tool for defense employees accessing it through Palantir under strict terms, yet vulnerable to being taken offline over a specific compliance issue with a foreign entity. The message from Washington is clear. The safety of national interests in AI dominance outweighs commercial stability or even government reliance on that specific system. It highlights an era where your most critical tools can be deactivated based on allegations made during high-level diplomatic visits, like Trump's recent trip to the Middle East, adding another layer of volatility to the regulatory environment. Now, here is where the story gets fascinatingly contradictory. Amidst all this chaos, models being taken offline and partners locked out, you would expect a company to be scrambling for every diplomatic channel available. Instead, Anthropic has been privately lobbying Congress to vote against a specific bill. This bill aims to prevent states from regulating artificial intelligence independently. Furthermore, they expressed opposition to an AI agreement signed among Gulf states during Trump's visit to the Middle East. This behavior is what experts call walking a branding tightrope. On one hand, the company positions itself as the gold standard for safety-focused AI, a narrative that won them lucrative defense contracts and kept the government using their models throughout 2025. Their public stance is about safety, ethics, and responsible deployment. However, by lobbying against state-level regulations and opposing international agreements, they are effectively arguing for a federal monopoly on how AI is governed in the U.S. They want Washington to have total control, likely believing that a unified federal approach will protect their proprietary technology from being scattered or regulated differently across 50 states or various international borders. It raises a profound question about who really controls the narrative. Is Anthropic truly pushing for safety, or are they using safety as a shield to resist local regulations that might challenge their dominance? The fact that defense employees had to accept specific government usage terms while the company lobbies against state oversight suggests a complex power play where the corporation is negotiating its own leash with federal authorities, effectively saying, "Let the feds handle the rules, but don't let the states get involved." So, what does this mean for us and the industry moving forward? We are witnessing the birth of a new era in AI governance where commercial viability is entirely secondary to geopolitical strategy. The days of treating AI as just another software product are long over. Now, it is treated as a strategic asset comparable to oil or nuclear fuel, subject to immediate export bans, forced offline events, and intense diplomatic scrutiny. For businesses like Anthropic, the lesson is clear. You cannot separate your technology from world politics. The Indian developers who were locked out of Claude Fable 5 are now pioneers in understanding that their market access depends on Washington's mood more than their own technical expertise. For policymakers, this incident serves as a warning. When you mix national security fears with commercial disputes, the result is often unpredictability and operational disruption. The practical takeaway for everyone involved is to expect volatility. If you are investing in AI startups, building infrastructure around specific models like Claude Fable 5, or planning enterprise rollouts across borders, you must assume that government intervention can happen instantly and without warning. The safety-focused brand might protect a company's reputation, but it won't stop an executive order from shutting down their servers if the geopolitical winds shift. We are entering a phase where the most important code to write isn't in Python or C++, but in understanding the political landscape before you even release your first line of production software. And there we have it. A look at how Anthropic's rapid expansion collided head-on with Washington's tightening grip on AI, creating a perfect storm of controversy, lockdowns, and lobbying efforts. We've seen how Indian researchers were locked out overnight, how models went offline due to China disputes despite government reliance, and why the company is fighting hard against state-level regulations. The message is unmistakable. In this new era, technology does not exist in a vacuum. It exists within the high-stakes chessboard of global power. If you found this deep dive into the intersection of tech and politics as compelling as I did, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And let me know in the comments, do you think companies should be allowed to lobby against state regulations if those regulations are meant to protect consumer safety? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this rapidly evolving world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.